Welcome back to World Information HD, where curious minds get their daily dose of history, mystery, and mind-blowing facts from around the globe. In today's episode, we're diving deep into the world of coin collecting to count down the top 15 most valuable and rare Lincoln wheat pennies from the US. Yes, some of these tiny cents have sold for millions. Stay tuned. You might be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it. Today, we're diving deep into a fascinating piece of United States history, the 1925 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny. This is not just any ordinary coin, it's one that connects us directly to the roaring 1920s, a time of change, prosperity, and craftsmanship in American coinage. And believe me, by the end of this video, you'll realize how this tiny 1-cent coin could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Let's begin by turning the pages of history back to 1925, a year when America was alive with jazz, industry, and progress. Calvin Coolidge was president, the automobile industry was booming, and the nation was full of optimism. Yet behind this vibrant era, the humble Lincoln cent quietly continued its legacy. The 1925 penny might seem simple to the naked eye, but to collectors and numismatists, it represents an era when precision and quality met artistry. The 1925 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the main U.S. mint facility that did not use a mint mark at the time. Unlike its counterparts from Denver or San Francisco, this Philadelphia version carries no letter beneath the date, making it clean, simple, and elegant in its design. The lack of a mint mark often leads new collectors to think their coin is ordinary, but that's far from the truth. Let's talk about its design, a masterpiece crafted by the great Victor David Brenner, whose initials, VDB, are known to every serious coin collector. On the obverse, we see the proud portrait of Abraham Lincoln, America's 16th president, gazing rightward with a solemn and thoughtful expression. His detailed beard, the sharpness in his features, and the balanced lettering of "In God We Trust" above, along with "Liberty" to the left and the date 1925 to the right, all add to the aesthetic beauty of this coin. It's a coin that's not only a piece of currency but a tribute to American history and leadership. On the reverse side, the 1925 penny carries the signature wheat ears design, two stylized wheat stalks that curve gracefully along the sides, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. Above it rests the motto, E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one. This iconic reverse design gave the coin its popular nickname, the wheat penny. The detail and craftsmanship of these early cents are remarkable, especially when viewed under magnification. Every line of the wheat stalks and every letter was carefully struck to perfection. Now, what makes the 1925 no-mint mark wheat penny truly fascinating is its journey through time. When it was first minted, each coin had the value of just 1 cent, a single penny that could buy a piece of candy, a newspaper, or even a loaf of bread in some places. Millions were produced that year, roughly 139 million to be exact, but not all of them survived the test of time. Many were lost, melted, or simply worn out through decades of circulation. The coins that remain today, especially those in high condition, are treasured relics of American history. If you've ever come across an old penny from the 1920s, you might think it's worth only its face value, but condition and rarity are everything in coin collecting. The 1925 penny is a prime example. While many circulated coins may have heavy wear and scratches, those that were well preserved, perhaps kept in a drawer, album, or coin jar for decades, can be worth an astonishing amount of money today. When grading coins, experts look for specific features. A well-struck 1925 penny with sharp details, no damage, and original luster can command incredible prices at auction. In lower circulated grades, such as good or very good, the coin might be worth a few dollars, still impressive for something once worth a single cent. In fine and very fine conditions, the details of Lincoln's face and the wheat ears become more visible, and the price climbs even higher. But it's the mint state examples that truly steal the spotlight. A mint state 1925 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny means the coin has never been circulated, no wear, no handling, and minimal imperfections. These are the coins that shine with their original reddish copper brilliance, the same way they did when they left the Philadelphia Mint nearly a century ago. The redder and shinier the coin, the more valuable it becomes. The grading scale used by professionals, known as the Sheldon scale, goes from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS-60 or higher is considered mint state, and an MS-65 or MS-67 example of the 1925 penny can be extremely rare. These high-grade coins are what collectors compete for, driving prices to remarkable heights at auctions across the country. But what about errors? That's another fascinating part of the story. The 1925 Lincoln cent has a few known minting varieties that make it even more desirable. Some coins were struck slightly off-center, others showed doubled dies where the date or lettering appears slightly doubled, and some even have weak strikes due to worn dies. Collectors love these unique imperfections, as they add a layer of rarity and individuality to each coin. Imagine finding one of these rare varieties in your own collection or inherited jar of old coins. A small difference in design, a tiny doubling of a letter or a slightly misaligned strike, could mean the difference between a penny worth a few dollars and one worth thousands. Now, let's explore why these coins hold such strong appeal among collectors today. Beyond their monetary value, the 1925 Lincoln cent is a tangible connection to America's past. It represents the endurance of a nation that had survived war, entered an age of innovation, and was thriving in the Roaring Twenties. Each penny carries the weight of that history in its copper surface, a silent witness to a century of change. Collectors and historians often say that coins are storytellers, and the 1925 penny has a story to tell. It has seen the rise of cities, the Great Depression that followed just a few years later, and the evolution of American currency itself. Many of these coins passed through the hands of farmers, factory workers, and families during times of both prosperity and hardship. That human connection is what gives these coins their soul. Even the composition of the coin tells a story. The 1925 Lincoln cent was made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving it that warm reddish-brown color that collectors love. Over time, copper reacts with the air, developing a unique patina that can range from deep chocolate brown to bright red, each coin aging in its own distinct way. Just like people. If you ever come across a 1925 penny in your collection or in an old jar of coins, take a close look. Examine the details. Does it still have its luster? Can you see all the lines in the wheat ears? Are Lincoln's features sharp and well-defined? If so, you might just be holding a miniature treasure. It's amazing to think that something as small as a 1-cent coin could carry such tremendous value today. Many collectors have paid thousands for a pristine 1925 example. Auction houses across the United States have seen intense bidding wars for high-grade specimens, and prices continue to climb as collectors seek to complete their Lincoln cent sets. Remember, condition and originality are everything. If your coin has been cleaned, polished, or damaged, its value can drop significantly. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can help determine its exact condition and certify its authenticity, making it easier to sell or trade with confidence. So the next time you come across an old Lincoln penny, especially one from the 1920s, don't dismiss it. You could be holding a rare piece of history worth far more than its face value. The 1925 no-mint mark wheat penny continues to be one of the most sought-after coins from the early 20th century. Cherished for its age, design, and rarity. And now, for the moment you've been waiting for, the highest recorded value of the 1925 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny. In pristine condition, with its full original red luster, this remarkable coin has reached an unbelievable auction price of $56,366. Yes, you heard that right. A single 1-cent coin, once used in everyday transactions nearly a century ago, can now be worth $56,366. That's the magic of coin collecting, history, art, and value all combined in the palm of your hand. Thank you for watching World Information HD. If you enjoyed learning about this extraordinary 1925 Lincoln wheat penny, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video so more people can discover the hidden treasures waiting in their pocket change. Welcome back to World Information HD, the place where history and hidden treasures come alive. Today, we're diving deep into one of America's most fascinating and valuable coins, the 1941 Lincoln Wheat penny with no mint mark. This small copper coin, often overlooked by many collectors and hidden in plain sight, has a story that stretches back to the heart of World War II America. But what makes this humble 1-cent piece so special? Why are some 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat pennies worth a small fortune today? Stay tuned, because this story will make you want to double-check every old penny in your collection. Let's rewind to the year 1941, a defining moment in U.S. history. The world was at war, but the United States had not yet officially entered the conflict. President Franklin D. Roosevelt was leading a nation still recovering from the Great Depression. At the same time, millions of Americans were working in factories, producing everything from airplanes to automobiles. Amid this backdrop of global tension and industrial growth, the United States Mint was quietly producing millions of Lincoln Wheat pennies, including the famous 1941 no-mint mark penny struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Now, if you look at the front of a 1941 penny, you'll see the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. His initials, VDB, can be found just under Lincoln's shoulder on the obverse side of some coins, although they were removed and later reinstated in later years. On the reverse side, 2 wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent and United States of America, giving this coin its nickname, the Wheat Penny. Above the lettering, you'll find the famous motto, E pluribus unum, which means, out of many, one. But here's where it gets interesting. Not all 1941 pennies are created equal. While millions of these coins were produced, not every one of them survived in perfect condition. Over the decades, most have been lost, spent, worn down, or melted. However, a small number of these 1941 no-mint mark wheat pennies have been preserved in near-perfect mint state, and that's where the value skyrockets. In 1941, the Philadelphia Mint struck more than 887 million Lincoln Wheat pennies. That's a massive number. But despite such a high mintage, finding one that has survived untouched for more than 80 years is incredibly rare. Time, circulation, and exposure to the elements have destroyed most examples. The few that remain in pristine condition, with their original reddish luster, are considered numismatic treasures. Collectors around the world love the 1941 penny for more than just its design or age. It represents an era of transition, a time before the United States entered World War II, and before major changes were made to coin compositions in the coming years. Just 2 years later, in 1943, the mint would switch from copper to steel pennies to conserve metal for the war effort. That makes the 1941 penny one of the last true copper Lincoln Wheat cents before America's economy shifted toward wartime production. When you hold a 1941 no-mint mark wheat penny in your hand, you're holding a piece of history, a connection to an America that was changing rapidly. It's a simple coin with a profound legacy. But for collectors, the story goes beyond history. It's also about rarity, condition, and hidden value. So what makes a 1941 penny valuable today? It all depends on a few critical factors: condition, color, strike, and rarity of preservation. Coins are graded on a numerical scale from 1 to 70. A heavily worn 1941 penny might only be worth a few cents to $1. But if your coin is in exceptional condition, what collectors call mint state, MS, then you could be sitting on something special. There are 3 main color designations for copper coins: brown, BN, red-brown, RB, and red, RD. The most valuable 1941 pennies are those with full red color, bright, shiny, and well preserved from oxidation. These coins are often found stored in old collections, coin albums, or tucked away by families who unknowingly preserved them for decades. Let's say you happen to come across a 1941 penny in near-perfect condition, no scratches, no wear, and a strong red shine. That's when professional grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, come into play. A high-grade coin, especially those rated MS67RD or higher, can fetch thousands of dollars at auction. But why? Because such coins are incredibly rare. Out of hundreds of millions minted, only a handful exist in flawless condition. Collectors are willing to pay top dollar for those perfect survivors, making them treasures in the world of numismatics. Now, let's talk about a few fascinating errors and variations that also make the 1941 penny even more collectible. Some 1941 wheat pennies have double die obverse, where the lettering on the front, like "In God We Trust" or "Liberty," appears double due to a minting mishap. Others may have slight misstrikes, die cracks, or off-center errors. Each of these variations adds a layer of intrigue and, in some cases, significant value to the coin. For example, a 1941 penny with a noticeable double die error can easily sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on condition. The charm of these error coins lies in their uniqueness. No two are exactly alike, and they tell a story of how even the mighty U.S. Mint wasn't immune to human error and mechanical imperfection during a time of national stress and industrial overload. The Philadelphia Mint, which produced the no-mint mark 1941 pennies, was the main coin production facility in the nation at that time. Unlike coins made in Denver or San Francisco, which bear the D and S mint marks respectively, Philadelphia coins from this era have no identifying mark. So when you see a 1941 penny without any mint mark below the date, that's your clue. It came from the Philadelphia Mint. Now imagine this. You're sorting through a jar of old pennies, maybe ones handed down from your parents or grandparents. You notice an old wheat penny dated 1941. At first, it seems ordinary, just another copper coin from decades past. But under a bright light, you notice that the coin still gleams, its surface nearly flawless, with no visible wear. That's when you might realize you could be holding something worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny serves as a reminder that hidden treasures can still be found in the most unexpected places, from old dresser drawers, vintage piggy banks, or inherited coin jars. Many coin collectors began their journey by discovering an old penny just like this one, a coin that sparked curiosity, research, and eventually a lifelong passion. Coin enthusiasts love stories like this because they connect the past and present. Every 1941 wheat penny tells a story of resilience, how a small, simple coin survived through decades of wars, economic shifts, and changing times to become a collectible piece of history. Some of the most pristine examples have been auctioned off to collectors who recognize the beauty and significance of these early 20th century coins. A flawless, uncirculated 1941 no-mint mark penny, especially in the highest grades, can sell for astonishing amounts, shocking even seasoned collectors. One particular coin, graded at the very top of the scale and possessing full red color with sharp details, sold for a jaw-dropping amount. A testament to just how valuable the right coin can be in today's market. What's amazing is that these coins are still out there. They're hidden in collections, stored in old envelopes, or even forgotten inside antique jars. The thrill of discovery continues to drive collectors to search, hoping to find that one exceptional coin among billions of ordinary cents. So next time you come across an old penny, take a closer look. Flip it over. Check the date. Examine its color and condition. Because that tiny copper coin could be worth far more than you imagine. The 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny may just be your gateway into the fascinating world of coin collecting, a world where history meets value, and the past literally holds money in your hands. And now, for those of you wondering exactly how much one of these 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat pennies can be worth in top condition, hold on to your seat. The highest recorded sale for one of these coins, preserved in near-perfect red mint state, reached an incredible $48,736. So the next time you see a penny from 1941, remember, it's not just 1 cent. It's a relic of American history, a story in copper, and possibly a life-changing treasure waiting to be discovered. Thanks for watching World Information HD. Welcome to World Information HD, where we uncover the hidden treasures hiding in plain sight, coins that could turn your pocket change into a fortune. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and historical coins in American numismatic history, the 1942 D-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny. You might think a simple 1-cent coin couldn't possibly be worth much, but this particular penny carries a legacy of wartime America, rare minting varieties, and collector obsession that has driven its value sky high over the decades. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this small copper coin could be worth far more than just a cent, and exactly what makes it so desirable among collectors today. Let's travel back in time to the year 1942. The world was at war, and the United States had just fully entered World War II. Every resource, including metals, was being rationed for the war effort. Copper, a critical material for weapons and electrical wiring, was in especially short supply. Yet, the U.S. Mint still needed to produce billions of 1-cent coins to keep commerce flowing. That year, the Denver Mint produced millions of wheat pennies bearing the small D mint mark beneath the date, and while most of them were ordinary copper coins, a few special varieties and minting quirks have made some 1942 D pennies incredibly valuable today. The Lincoln wheat penny design itself has a deep history. It was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse front of the coin features a right-facing portrait of Lincoln, the first time an actual person appeared on a circulating U.S. coin. The reverse back shows two stylized wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, giving the coin its famous nickname, the wheat penny. Simple yet powerful, this design ran until 1958, before being replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959. Now, when it comes to the 1942 D wheat penny, collectors pay close attention to details that most people would overlook: tiny imperfections, doubling, minting errors, and variations that happened during production. In 1942, the Denver Mint struck over 206 million pennies. However, not all were created equal. Most were made from the standard bronze alloy, 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. But because of wartime metal shortages and transitional experiments, a few coins were struck with slight variations in composition, leading to fascinating anomalies. These minor differences are exactly what makes some coins worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Let's talk about the visual appearance. The 1942 D penny has a rich reddish-brown tone when uncirculated, though many have aged to a darker brown hue. On the obverse, you'll notice the date, 1942, just to the right of Lincoln's shoulder, with the tiny D mint mark just below it, indicating that it was struck at the Denver Mint. On the reverse, those iconic wheat stalks stand tall, symbolizing prosperity and unity during a time of war and national challenge. However, what truly excites coin collectors are the rare die errors and varieties that can occur. Some 1942 D wheat pennies display what's known as a D over D repunched mint mark, where the Denver Mint mark was accidentally stamped more than once, slightly offset each time. To the naked eye, this can look like a blurry or doubled D beneath the date, and for collectors, that subtle imperfection makes the coin exponentially more desirable. Depending on its condition and clarity, a 1942 D over D error penny can be worth hundreds to even thousands of dollars. Another rarity involves the double die obverse, a minting error where the coin die itself was engraved twice slightly out of alignment. This causes certain letters or numbers to appear doubled, especially in the words Liberty or In God We Trust. These doubled dies are among the most sought-after varieties in the Lincoln Cent series. Only a handful are known for the 1942 D issue, making them highly collectible pieces for any serious numismatist. Now, condition plays a monumental role in determining the value of any coin, and the 1942 D wheat penny is no exception. Coins are graded on a scale from per P1 all the way to mint state, MS70, where a perfect MS70 coin looks as though it just rolled off the minting press. Most circulated 1942 D pennies you find in old jars or change boxes are typically in very fine, VF, to extremely fine, XF, condition, often worth just a few cents above face value. But when you move into the realm of uncirculated MS coins, those that show no signs of wear, values skyrocket dramatically. For example, a 1942 D penny graded MS65 read by a reputable grading company like PCGS or NGC could fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. The color designation is important. Red RD indicates a coin that has retained most of its original copper luster. Red-brown, RB, shows a mix of tones, and brown, BN, indicates a fully toned coin. Collectors usually pay a premium for bright, original red surfaces since those are rare survivors from over 80 years ago. Another fascinating aspect of the 1942 Dewey penny's value comes from its historical significance. Coins from this era represent the final years of copper-based cents before the U.S. Mint switched to the steel cents of 1943, which were coated in zinc to conserve copper for wartime production. That makes the 1942 issues, including those from Denver, the last full year of the true bronze Lincoln cents before that dramatic wartime change. Because of this, collectors view 1942 pennies as the end of an era, a bridge between peace and wartime scarcity, between traditional coinage and emergency production. There are also a few transitional errors that have been reported: coins struck on planchets, coin blanks, meant for other denominations or years. While extremely rare, such off-metal strikes can occur when leftover blanks from previous minting runs accidentally get used. Imagine finding a 1942 D penny struck on a silver dime planchet. That would be an astronomical discovery, instantly making it a coin of museum-level rarity. Though such pieces are incredibly scarce, they fuel the excitement and mystery surrounding 1942 D pennies. Let's also talk about how to identify and protect your potential treasure. Start by checking your penny with a magnifying glass under good lighting. Look closely at the date, mint mark, and any doubling on the letters. If you see what looks like two overlapping D's or doubled inscriptions, it's worth getting your coin professionally graded. Handle it carefully by the edges to avoid leaving fingerprints or oils on its surface. Every small detail can affect its value. If you suspect you have an uncirculated or error variety, submit it to a professional grading service like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, for authentication. These organizations seal the coin in tamper-proof holders, giving collectors confidence in both authenticity and grade. Even circulated examples can be rewarding to keep. Imagine finding a 1942 Dewey penny in an old jar passed down through generations. It's like holding a piece of living history. Every nick and scratch tells a story from an era when families collected scrap metal for the war effort, soldiers wrote letters home, and Lincoln's humble face reminded Americans daily of unity and endurance. For many collectors, the emotional value of the Lincoln wheat penny goes beyond the monetary worth. It connects them to a tangible piece of American heritage, to stories of perseverance and craftsmanship. Each 1-cent coin was once a silent witness to history, tucked in a soldier's pocket, passed through the hands of a factory worker, or saved by a child learning about thrift during uncertain times. Now, when we turn our attention to auctions and record-breaking sales, the 1942 D penny has made remarkable appearances. High-grade examples with strong luster and minimal imperfections have fetched stunning prices. Collectors who recognize the importance of this particular issue often compete fiercely for the finest specimens. The market for rare Lincoln cents has grown significantly in recent years, with demand coming not just from seasoned collectors but also from new investors who see rare coins as both a historical asset and a financial opportunity. It's not unusual to see bidding wars break out for pristine coins, especially those certified as MS67 red or higher. These represent the absolute best survivors out of hundreds of millions minted, perhaps just a few hundred coins in existence that remain in such perfect, untouched condition. Each year, as more people discover the thrill of coin collecting, the number of available top-tier coins only decreases, further driving their prices upward. So the next time you come across an old jar of pennies or stumble upon a coin collection from your grandparents, take a closer look. The year was 1942, and the United States of America was in the midst of a world-changing era. As the echoes of World War II spread across continents, the U.S. Mint continued its duty of producing coins for everyday transactions, coins that today hold not just monetary value, but history, legacy, and the whispers of a generation defined by courage and change. Among those small but mighty coins, one stood out, the 1942 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny. It may seem ordinary to an untrained eye, but to collectors, historians, and treasure hunters, This coin can tell a story worth thousands of dollars and a glimpse into America's past. Let's take a fascinating journey into the history, mystery, and value of the 1942 Lincoln Wheat penny with no mint mark, a coin that's now one of the most desired among U.S. vintage coin enthusiasts. The 1942 Lincoln Wheat penny is a product of a time when America was shifting its industrial focus toward the war effort. The coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which, as was customary at the time, didn't use a mint mark. So, when you find a 1942 penny without a mint mark, that's not an error, that's how it was meant to be. The Philadelphia Mint produced a massive number of these coins, over 657 million to be exact. Yet, despite that large number, finding one in pristine condition today is an incredible challenge. Most of them circulated heavily during wartime America, passed from soldier to soldier, family to family, and business to business. Made from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, this coin has that familiar reddish-brown shine that all wheat pennies are famous for. But here's where things get interesting. During the early 1940s, the U.S. Mint was already preparing to change its penny composition due to the copper shortage caused by the war. Every ounce of copper was being redirected to produce ammunition, shell casings, and military equipment. So, these 1942 pennies were among the last fully copper-based Lincoln cents before the famous 1943 steel cents were introduced. This transition makes the 1942 penny one of the last of its kind, a true relic of pre-war coinage. Now, if you hold one of these 1942 no-mint mark wheat pennies in your hand, take a closer look. On the obverse side, you'll see the classic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, the same design introduced in 1909 to celebrate Lincoln's 100th birthday. Above Lincoln's head, the inscription proudly reads, "In God We Trust," a motto that stood as a symbol of faith during some of the darkest days in American history. To the left, Liberty is imprinted, and to the right, the year 1942 stands out, marking a pivotal moment in both history and minting tradition. Flip it over, and the reverse side carries the words, 1 cent, and United States of America, framed beautifully by 2 wheat ears, a symbol of prosperity and hard work. Above them, the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many one, shines as a reminder of unity in troubled times. The simplicity of the design is what makes it timeless. But what gives this coin its true power isn't just its appearance or history, it's the rarity of finding one in perfect condition. Most of the 1942 no-mint mark pennies were used extensively, leading to wear and tear that lowered their collectible value. However, those rare few that were carefully stored away in coin books or forgotten drawers, untouched for decades, now command impressive prices among collectors. In lower grades, a circulated 1942 penny might only be worth a few cents to a few dollars. But as you move up to higher grades, especially coins with a brilliant uncirculated red luster, the value can soar dramatically. Mint state, MS, condition coins are where the real excitement begins. A sharp strike, no signs of wear, and that vibrant reddish copper tone are what every collector dreams of. What's truly fascinating about this coin is how condition and color classification affect its value. You see, collectors divide Lincoln wheat pennies into 3 main color categories: brown, BN, red-brown, RB, and red RD. Brown coins have lost their original copper shine and appear darker. Red-brown coins have a mix of original color and patina. And red coins have that full, fiery brilliance just as they looked when they left the mint in 1942. Finding a 1942 no-mint mark penny in pure red condition is extremely rare, and that rarity is what sends its price skyrocketing. Another factor that can increase its value is die errors. During the wartime era, the U.S. Mint was operating under intense pressure, leading to occasional production flaws. Some 1942 Lincoln cents show doubled dies, off-center strikes, or repunched dates. These errors, when verified, are incredibly valuable. For example, a 1942 double-die obverse penny, where the numbers or letters appear slightly duplicated, can easily fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on its grade and clarity. But the most desirable examples of the 1942 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny are those that have been graded and certified by professional grading companies such as PCGS or NGC. These organizations evaluate coins on a 70-point scale, with 70 being a flawless, perfect coin. High-grade specimens in MS-67 or MS-68 red are exceedingly scarce, often the pride of elite collections. Collectors love the 1942 penny not just because of its monetary value, but also because of its emotional connection to the past. Every one of these coins tells a story. Perhaps it was carried in the pocket of a factory worker producing more materials, or maybe it sat in a child's collection jar during rationing days. When you hold one, you hold a piece of living history, a reminder of a nation that stood strong during uncertain times. Now imagine this. You stumble upon an old coin jar, passed down through your family, and among the mix of old nickels and dimes, you spot a 1942 penny. You notice it has no mint mark. You clean it gently and realize it's been preserved beautifully, bright, with sharp details. You take it for grading, and it turns out to be an MS-68 red specimen. That's when you realize you're holding something far beyond an ordinary cent. In the world of numismatics, that small coin suddenly transforms into a prized artifact, one that could fetch thousands of dollars at auction. It's a perfect example of how patience, attention to detail, and a little luck can turn everyday pocket change into a valuable discovery. The story of the 1942 penny also reminds us how small things can carry great significance. In the early 1940s, Americans were dealing with rationing, uncertainty, and global war, yet even then, they continued minting coins with pride, ensuring that the nation's economy remained strong. These coins circulated through the hands of soldiers' families, factory workers, schoolchildren, and shopkeepers, becoming a symbol of hope and endurance. When collectors today chase after these old wheat pennies, it's not just about the copper or the shine, it's about preserving a tangible link to history. Every tiny scratch, every bit of wear tells a story about where the coin has been and what it has witnessed. And that's what makes the 1942 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny truly special. It's not just another old coin, it's a survivor. A witness to the Second World War era, to America's industrial transformation, and to generations of people who unknowingly carried a future treasure in their pockets. So, the next time you come across an old penny from 1942 without a mint mark, don't dismiss it as just another piece of change. Look closely. Check the condition, the color, and the details. Because among the millions minted, there are a few that have stood the test of time, glowing reminders of an era gone by. Collectors and investors alike continue to seek these pennies, bidding fiercely for high-quality specimens at auctions across the country. And while most 1942 pennies might only be worth a few dollars, those in exceptional condition, untouched by time, can fetch unbelievable prices, proving that even the smallest coins can hold immense power. So, if you ever find one gleaming under the light, preserved in all its copper glory, remember this: you might be holding a piece of American history worth not just a story, but a fortune. Because the most perfect, finest condition 1942 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny ever sold reached a stunning price of $37,746. Welcome to World Information HD, your ultimate destination for fascinating stories behind rare American coins that could be worth a fortune. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most intriguing coins in United States history, the 1946 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny. You might think a penny is just a penny, small, simple, and not worth much. But the truth behind the 1946 wheat cent will leave you amazed, especially when you learn how certain rare examples have sold for thousands of dollars. Let's take a trip back in time, to 1946, a year that marked the end of an era and the beginning of post-war America. The country had just come out of World War II. People were rebuilding, factories were returning to civilian production, and materials once used for the war effort were making their way back into everyday items, including coins. The U.S. Mint was striking billions of pennies again using copper, after several years of producing the famous steel cents of 1943. So what makes the 1946 Lincoln penny so special? Well, while most people see it as just another old coin, collectors know that not all 1946 pennies are created equal. The value of a 1946 wheat penny depends heavily on its condition, any mint errors, and whether it has a mint mark. The 1946 no mint mark Lincoln penny was struck in Philadelphia, which did not use a mint mark at that time. Over 991 million coins were made there, which sounds like a lot, and it is. But here's the twist. Only a small fraction of those coins survived in pristine condition, and even fewer display the rare characteristics that make them valuable today. Let's start by looking at the coin itself. The obverse, or front side, features the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln's calm but firm expression represents honesty, leadership, and integrity, traits that define both the man and the nation's ideals after a turbulent war. Above him, the words, "In God We Trust," are inscribed proudly, along with "Liberty" to the left and the date, 1946, to the right. Flip the coin over, and you'll see the classic wheat reverse design, two stylized wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, along with E pluribus unum at the top. The wheat design itself was used from 1909 until 1958, and it has since become a nostalgic symbol of early 20th century America. At first glance, the 1946 no mint mark penny may not seem rare. After all, with nearly a billion minted, you might expect to find them in your pocket change, and many people still do. But the real treasure lies in the details. Some of these pennies were struck with die errors, doubling, or unusual surface finishes that make them extraordinary. For instance, double die errors, where the design appears slightly duplicated because of a misalignment during minting, can turn a simple penny into a collector's dream. Some 1946 pennies show doubling on Lincoln's eye, mouth, or on the lettering, particularly around "Liberty" or "In God We Trust." These are subtle, but under magnification, the doubling becomes evident. Such coins are not only rare but highly sought after by enthusiasts willing to pay impressive sums for the right example. Another factor that dramatically influences value is the coin's condition, which is graded on the Sheldon scale from poor, P1, to mint state, MS 70. Most 1946 pennies in circulation today are worn, their surfaces darkened, details faded. But an uncirculated example, one that looks nearly brand new, with full red copper color and sharp details, can command a premium. Imagine finding a 1946 penny with its original fiery red luster, shimmering like it was struck yesterday. Those pristine surfaces are the reason some of these coins can be worth thousands. Collectors call these red coins because of their bright copper appearance, compared to brown, or red-brown, varieties that have oxidized over time. Now you might wonder, how do you identify a 1946 penny with no mint mark? It's simple. Look closely below the date on the obverse. If you see nothing there, no D for Denver or S for San Francisco, you're holding a Philadelphia minted coin. But don't be fooled into thinking that just because it lacks a mint mark, it's not valuable. In fact, some of the most valuable pennies in history have been no mint mark issues. Collectors love to study every detail of these coins. Small variations in die wear, strike quality, or planchet condition can make a world of difference. Some 1946 pennies also show repunched mint marks or traces of earlier die use, adding another layer of fascination for numismatists. One of the most remarkable things about the 1946 wheat penny is how it represents a period of transition. After years of wartime shortages, the U.S. Mint was finally returning to normal production using copper recovered from shell casings and ammunition. This gives the 1946 penny a unique historical significance. It's literally made from metal that once served in battle. Holding one of these coins is like holding a small piece of post-war America, a reminder of resilience and renewal. Over the years, coin collectors have discovered that 1946 pennies come in various conditions and tones. Some have developed a beautiful rainbow-like patina due to oxidation, while others retain their original shine. Collectors particularly seek out coins graded MS 65 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. Coins in these grades are almost flawless, with sharp strikes and original luster. If you happen to find a 1946 penny in your change, take a closer look before spending it. Examine it under good lighting or with a magnifying glass. Look for strong details on Lincoln's coat, beard, and the wheat stalks on the reverse. A sharply detailed coin could be worth much more than one that's worn smooth. There's also another reason some 1946 no-mint mark pennies are highly prized: errors and varieties. Among the most famous are off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing because the coin blank wasn't centered correctly. Others include clipped planchets, where a small piece of metal is missing from the coin's edge. These rare manufacturing mistakes can increase a coin's value dramatically. So why do collectors go crazy over these tiny copper coins? Beyond their metal value, coins like the 1946 penny tell a story about the people, the minting process, and the era they were made in. Each one is like a time capsule, connecting us to a moment in history that still echoes today. In coin collecting, rarity and condition often go hand in hand. A worn 1946 penny might only be worth a few cents, but a mint-state example with full red color and sharp details could easily fetch hundreds, or even thousands of dollars at auction. It all depends on its preservation and whether any rare minting anomalies are present. Throughout the years, auctions have surprised collectors with astonishing results for these humble coins. Clean, uncirculated examples have achieved impressive prices, especially when verified by professional grading services. Collectors are constantly searching for the next great discovery, a hidden gem hiding in plain sight, sitting unnoticed in an old jar or drawer. You never know, that old penny you've had for years could be far more valuable than you imagine. If you're lucky enough to find a 1946 penny in excellent condition, consider having it appraised by a reputable coin dealer or grading service. Proper grading and certification can significantly increase its market value. So next time you go through your change, take an extra second to look for that 1946 no-mint mark wheat penny. It might not look like much at first, but under the right circumstances, that simple copper coin could be your gateway into the fascinating world of numismatics, and maybe even a small fortune. And now, the part you've all been waiting for. How much could the rarest and finest example of the 1946 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny be worth today? In an extraordinary case, a high-grade specimen in pristine mint condition, showing remarkable detail and color, once sold at auction for a jaw-dropping $45,665. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny, struck nearly 80 years ago, can be worth $45,665 to the right collector. So keep your eyes open, coin enthusiasts. You never know what treasures might be hiding in your change. Every coin tells a story, and sometimes, that story can be worth a fortune. Stay tuned to World Information HD for more incredible discoveries about rare US coins and their hidden histories. Welcome back to World Information HD, your ultimate destination for uncovering the hidden treasures and astonishing secrets behind America's rarest coins. In today's fascinating episode, we dive deep into a coin that may be hiding right under your nose, inside your old coin jar, or tucked away in your grandparents' attic, the 1948 Lincoln wheat penny with no mint mark. This little copper cent, often overlooked as just another common coin, has a story far more intriguing than most collectors realize. From its historical background to the rare errors that make it worth thousands, we're going to explore every hidden detail about this penny that transformed from everyday change into a collector's dream. So grab your magnifying glass, coin album, and a cup of coffee, because by the end of this video, you might just find out that one of the most valuable pennies in American history could be sitting quietly in your collection, waiting to change your fortune. Let's begin our journey in the postwar era of 1948. A time when the United States was rebuilding from World War II and stepping confidently into a new age of prosperity. The Lincoln wheat penny was already an American icon by then. Introduced in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, it had become a symbol of the nation's strength, resilience, and pride. By 1948, the design by Victor David Brenner was still going strong, featuring the familiar portrait of Lincoln on the obverse side and two stylized wheat ears on the reverse, symbolizing growth and productivity. At first glance, the 1948 penny doesn't appear unusual. It's made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighing about 3.11 grams. However, for sharp-eyed collectors, the magic lies in the details, the tiny variations in minting, die wear, and subtle errors that can turn an ordinary coin into something truly extraordinary. The 1948 no-mint mark penny was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Unlike the Denver or San Francisco mints, the Philadelphia Mint didn't include a mint mark, meaning if your 1948 penny lacks the small d or s below the date, it was minted in Philadelphia. Now, you might think that means it's common, but that's not the whole story. Though millions were produced, over 317 million to be exact, the true treasures are the ones that survived in pristine condition or carry fascinating minting errors. Let's talk about condition first. When coin collectors, or numismatists, assess value, the condition of a coin is everything. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, known as the Sheldon scale. A coin graded 1 is barely identifiable, while a perfect 70 is a flawless specimen with no marks even under magnification. Most 1948 pennies found in circulation fall somewhere in the middle, worn, scratched, or darkened from years of use. But the rare few that escape circulation, preserved in uncirculated or mint-state condition, are the real gems. Imagine holding a 1948 Lincoln wheat penny that still gleams like it just left the mint, sharp details, glossy luster, and no sign of wear. Such coins are almost time capsules, frozen in history. Collectors pay huge premiums for those examples, especially in higher grades like MS65 or MS67. At these grades, the penny's color, whether red, RD, red-brown, RB, or brown, BN, also plays a big role in determining value. The bright red examples, which still retain their full copper luster, are the most sought after and command the highest prices. But condition isn't the only thing that makes this coin special. The 1948 no-mint mark penny also has several known varieties and errors that can send its value skyrocketing. One of the most fascinating is the double die error. This happens when the die that stamps the coin is engraved twice slightly out of alignment, causing certain letters or numbers to appear doubled. For the 1948 penny, doubling can often be seen in the date, or the letters in Liberty, or In God We Trust. These subtle errors are extremely rare, but when found, they can elevate a penny's value from a few cents to hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Another intriguing variety to watch out for is the Repunched mint mark. Though in this case, since it's the no mint mark version from Philadelphia, we mainly see these on the Denver and San Francisco issues. Still, misaligned dies, planchet flaws, and weak strikes from the Philadelphia Mint are known, and those add unique character to the coins that collectors adore. Now, let's step back and talk history for a moment. The year 1948 was a turning point for America. The country was booming with post-war energy, factories were humming, families were buying new homes, and the baby boom generation was just beginning. The penny was a symbol of everyday life, found in every pocket, lunch counter, and gas station across the nation. Lincoln's image reminded Americans of unity and sacrifice, ideals that felt especially important in those years. That's why, for many collectors, owning a 1948 Lincoln penny isn't just about its monetary worth, it's about holding a piece of history, a link to a time when America was rebuilding its dreams. But of course, for coin enthusiasts and investors alike, value is always part of the story. So how do we determine what a 1948 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny is truly worth today? Well, the answer depends on condition, rarity, and demand, the holy trinity of coin collecting. Circulated examples of the 1948 penny typically sell for a few cents up to a few dollars, depending on where. But if you have one in uncirculated condition, especially with vibrant red luster, that's where things get exciting. Graded examples in MS65 or higher can fetch hundreds of dollars. And when you start entering the realm of the top population, those extremely rare, perfectly preserved specimens, prices can soar dramatically. Professional grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, have authenticated and graded many of these coins, but the highest quality examples remain few and far between. Every so often, one of these near-perfect 1948 no-mint mark pennies appears at auction and captures collectors' attention worldwide. In one remarkable case, a 1948 Lincoln wheat penny in absolutely flawless condition, graded MS-67 with full red color, stunned collectors and investors alike. The coin displayed razor-sharp details, incredible luster, and flawless surfaces, a true gem of American minting history. It became one of the most desirable examples of its kind ever seen on the market. Now, here's the fascinating part. While millions of people might still have 1948 pennies tucked away somewhere, only a handful are preserved in that perfect condition. That rarity, combined with the coin's historical charm and collector demand, is what pushes its value into extraordinary territory. Think about that for a moment. A coin worth just 1 cent when it was minted, nearly 8 decades ago, now worth thousands simply because of its beauty, rarity, and preservation. That's the magic of coin collecting, where history and art meet value and mystery. So, if you ever come across a 1948 Lincoln wheat penny with no mint mark, don't rush to spend it or toss it into a coin jar. Take a close look. Examine the date, check the surface for doubling or unusual markings, and pay attention to the color and shine. If it looks particularly sharp or bright, it might just be one of those rare survivors worth sending to a grading service for evaluation. You could be sitting on a hidden treasure from America's past, a penny that has journeyed through history, from the hands of post-war Americans to modern-day collectors. Before we wrap up, let's reflect on what makes coins like the 1948 Lincoln penny so fascinating. It's not just about copper and cents, it's about stories. Each coin tells a tale of the era it was born in, of a country recovering, growing, and evolving. It carries the fingerprints of history, the marks of time, and sometimes, the rare gift of perfection. And now, as collectors continue to search for these gems, the legend of the 1948 penny lives on. Whether you're a beginner coin collector or an experienced numismatist, the lesson here is clear. Always look closely, because even the smallest, most ordinary-looking coin can hold incredible secrets and unimaginable value. So, the next time you hear the jingle of change in your pocket, remember that among those everyday coins could lie a little piece of history, a relic of 1948. Carrying the face of Abraham Lincoln, glowing softly with copper brilliance, and waiting to tell its story to those who notice. And one such extraordinary 1948 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny, in pristine uncirculated condition with blazing red luster, once sold for an astonishing $34,555. A single cent turned into a small fortune. Proof that sometimes, history's greatest treasures are hidden in the smallest of things. Thanks for watching World Information HD. Welcome to World Information HD, the channel that brings you closer to the fascinating history, hidden treasures, and incredible stories behind the coins you might be holding right now. Today, we're diving deep into the mysterious and valuable world of the 1952 D-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny. This tiny copper coin, born in the heart of America's post-war era, might seem ordinary at first glance. But some of these pennies have shocked collectors and experts alike with their unbelievable value. So, grab your magnifying glass, because what you're about to discover could change the way you look at your spare change forever. The year 1952 was a remarkable period in American history. The nation was emerging from the shadows of World War II and heading straight into the age of prosperity and innovation. Dwight D. Eisenhower had just been elected president, and optimism was spreading across every state. The Denver Mint, located in the beautiful Rocky Mountains of Colorado, was buzzing with production, striking millions of Lincoln cents that year. Each coin carried a small but powerful symbol, the letter D just below the date, marking its birthplace at the Denver Mint. The 1952 D Lincoln wheat penny is part of the long and beloved Lincoln cent series, first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this coin features one of the most iconic portraits in American coinage. Lincoln's right-facing bust, with his thoughtful and determined gaze, is surrounded by the word, liberty, and the national motto, "In God We Trust." On the reverse side, two elegant wheat stalks curve along the edges, symbolizing prosperity, unity, and the hard work that defined early 20th century America. Between these stalks sits the denomination, 1 cent, and the proud words, United States of America. At first glance, the 1952 D penny doesn't look unusual. Over 746 million were struck, making it one of the more common issues in the Lincoln Wheat series. Yet, not all coins are created equal. A few remarkable examples have emerged over time, standing out for their stunning condition, flawless strike, or rare minting errors, and those special details have transformed an ordinary 1-cent coin into a collector's dream worth thousands of dollars. Let's step into the world of numismatics and uncover why this little copper coin is so special. To start, it's important to understand what makes any coin valuable. 3 main factors play a role: rarity, condition, and demand. The 1952 D penny may not be rare in sheer numbers, but in perfect condition, especially when preserved untouched since the day it was minted, it becomes incredibly scarce. Coins that have survived decades without scratches, discoloration, or wear are the ones that make collectors' hearts race. A coin's grade, determined by professional grading services such as PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, measures its quality on a scale from 1 to 70. A grade of MS-60 or higher signifies a mint state coin, meaning it has never been circulated. Now imagine finding a 1952 D wheat penny in MS-67 or MS-68 condition, with a lustrous red shine, sharp details, and not even a hint of imperfection. Such coins are exceedingly rare, and they're the ones that have fetched eye-popping prices at auctions. Over the years, lucky collectors and treasure hunters have unearthed a few of these magnificent specimens. Some came from old coin rolls tucked away in forgotten drawers, while others were preserved in coin albums by people who understood their potential long before anyone else did. When these flawless 1952 D Lincoln Wheat pennies appear at auctions, fierce bidding wars break out among collectors eager to claim a piece of numismatic perfection. But condition isn't the only factor that can make this coin valuable. The world of coin collecting is filled with exciting surprises, and mint errors are among the most fascinating. During the minting process, errors such as off-center strikes, double dies, or repunched mint marks can occur, creating unique varieties that drive collectors wild. For the 1952 D penny, one of the most intriguing varieties is the repunched mint mark (RPM), where the letter D was accidentally stamped more than once in slightly different positions. Under a magnifying glass, this small mistake becomes a thing of beauty, showing a faint doubling or shadow effect around the mint mark. Some of these varieties are incredibly subtle, but to collectors, they represent a direct connection to the coin's production process, a human or mechanical imperfection that makes each one unique. There are also stories of die cracks, cut errors, and planchet flaws on some 1952 D wheat pennies. A die crack is a small raised line on the coin, caused when the metal die used to strike the coin begins to wear or split. A cut error, on the other hand, occurs when part of the die breaks off completely, leaving a missing area on the coin's surface filled with extra metal. These unusual characteristics make certain pennies one of a kind, giving them charm and historical character that standard coins lack. Now, you might be wondering, how can you tell if your 1952 D penny is valuable? The first step is to examine the color. Lincoln Wheat pennies were made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, which naturally darken over time. Collectors categorize them as red, RD, red-brown, RB, or brown, BN, based on their remaining luster. A bright red example, glowing as if freshly minted, is always worth more than a dull brown one. Next, inspect the details on Lincoln's face and coat, as well as the wheat stalks on the reverse. A coin with full, sharp lines and no signs of wear on Lincoln's cheek or jaw will grade much higher than one with smoothed-out surfaces. If your coin appears crisp and uncirculated, it's time to take it to a professional grader. Collectors also check for die varieties using magnification tools or digital microscopes. Even a minor variation in the mint mark or lettering could make your coin highly sought after. Always handle your coins carefully, by the edges, and avoid cleaning them, as cleaning can destroy their natural patina and significantly reduce their value. It's fascinating to think that coins like the 1952 penny once jingled in people's pockets, bought newspapers, candies, and postage stamps. Yet today, some of those very same coins are sitting in collectors' vaults, valued higher than anyone from that era could have imagined. In recent years, the demand for high-quality Lincoln wheat pennies has skyrocketed. Collectors from around the world compete to build complete sets, from 1909 all the way to 1958, and the 1952 often becomes a standout coin when found in pristine condition. Its rich red tone, classic design, and connection to post-war American history make it both nostalgic and visually captivating. The Denver Mint itself has a legendary place in U.S. coinage. Founded in 1906, it was responsible for producing billions of coins that fueled the nation's growing economy. The 1952 production year marked a period of technological advancement and efficiency at the Mint, yet even with improved quality control, slight imperfections and unique features continued to emerge, much to the delight of collectors decades later. Beyond its numismatic value, the 1952 wheat penny also carries a deeper story, a reminder of America's resilience, progress, and hope during a time of change. Each coin from that era is a miniature time capsule, preserving the artistry and craftsmanship of the mid-20th century. And now comes the most exciting part, the value. While most circulated examples of the 1952 penny might only be worth a few cents to a few dollars, the finest known specimens have fetched prices that would astonish any collector. Coins in top mint state condition, especially those graded MS67 or higher with a vibrant red color, can sell for tens of thousands of dollars at major auctions. One particularly flawless example of the 1952 Lincoln wheat penny, preserved in breathtaking red mint state, was sold for an incredible $23,665. A jaw-dropping sum for a coin that once held the value of a single cent. So next time you come across a Lincoln wheat penny, take a closer look. That small copper coin might just be more than change. It could be a link to America's past, and perhaps, your unexpected treasure waiting to be discovered. Thank you for watching World Information HD. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the history and hidden value of the 1952 mint mark Lincoln wheat penny, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our latest uploads about rare and valuable coins worth a fortune. Who knows? The next great discovery could be sitting right in your coin jar.